Welcome to jobferno. I'm SP Graham, and today we're going to talk about career planning tips. Career planning is the most important financial decision you could ever make for your life. Career that you end up with decides whether you're going to end up being able to pay for debts, whether you're going to be able to have the house that you want, raise the family, support your community. Your career has a huge impact on everybody that's around you. If you have money, if you have resources, you can hire other people to help them grow too. You can teach skills down to people to help them grow in their careers. And so career planning on an individual basis has the biggest impact on a nation. And so at jobferno, my focus primarily is about career planning. And so here are some career planning tips to help you figure out what you want to do in your career and how you should be approaching your planning. The first thing is know the job you want. And this is actually a pretty simple concept, and actually it's part of the FIRE program that I've developed, where the first thing that you have to do is you have to pinpoint exactly what job it is that you're going to pursue, what career, what industry, and what job. Because I mean, you might be saying, oh, I'm going to be, I don't know, we'll just say an accountant. And you just need to make sure that you say, yes, I'm going to be an accountant. I know that's exactly what I want to do. And now I'm going to figure out what I have to do to be an accountant. And when you're making that decision, one of the big key components that you need to understand is the career that I'm picking, is it a paper job or a merit job? This is important because some people work better in merit situations than others. And so merit situations are particularly designed for people who are good at something, people who can be successful, who are highly skilled, highly intelligent, those who want to compete. It's basically designed for Americans. Now, the paper system, you kind of think about as like a more of a European style, where it's really about the piece of paper that you have. Nobody really cares about whether you're good at it or not. But if you have the piece of paper in your hand, like a bachelor's degree, master's, PhD, if you have the piece of paper in your hand, then you're qualified. And so when you're trying to decide what kind of job, what kind of career you want to keep that in mind. Do you want to go and get a piece of paper and have that be the proof of your success and the proof of your worth? I mean, a big one that's in the corporate world is human resources. Human resources can be done generally by everybody. However, the only people who get hired are those who get all the piece of papers and certifications. And so you need to know, are you somebody who wants a piece of paper job, or are you with the rest of us? And so then you get into more of the merit jobs. The merit jobs, again, are the ones that require skill. They require competition. They don't necessarily require the degree, though the degree can help. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to compete and grow and have the opportunity to, I don't know, maybe build a business someday or make a lot of money someday? Or do you just want to get a set amount of money that comes along with the piece of paper? Next thing is education needs. Not every career, not every job requires an education. Now, for the most part, you're going to get an education one way or another, whether that's on the job education or whether that's in the classroom education. And so as soon as you decide, this is the career I want to go after, this is what I want to achieve, we'll just say it's a paper job, and you say, okay, I know for sure that I want to be a psychologist. Well, okay, so now I'm going to see what education I should get to be a psychologist. And at that point, you maybe would look online, you'd look at different job opportunities, you look at a bunch of different things, you would do some research and then find out, if you want to be a psychologist, you better get a master's degree or a PhD. Okay, the next thing is company research in your area. So what do I mean by that? This is career planning tips. So whenever you're looking for a job, if you know you want to stay in your area, if you know that you don't plan on moving anywhere, you better be darn sure that there's going to be a job in your area. Because if you're going to get, let's go back to the psychology degree. If you're going to get a psychology degree and then you say, yeah, but I'm in the middle of Dana, Iowa, and you say, well, there are no jobs in Dana, Iowa. Well, you kind of picked poorly. So maybe you should have not have chosen a psychology degree unless you plan on moving. And so what you want to do is just search the companies that are in your area. So to do that, traditionally you would do things like a Google search. You might just do a basic Google search, companies in, I don't know, in whatever area in Chicago, Illinois. And you Google that and a bunch of things will come up on Google. That's not going to be all the companies, and then you say, okay, well, I'll go on Monster or go on Indeed or something like that, and I'll just search for that type of jobs in my area. And again, even though they may be on there, there's actually a decent chance those are not real jobs. There's a good chance those are just phishing jobs. Phishing jobs are jobs where employers or recruiters or other people will just put out a line and hope that they can get a bite and hope they can bring in fish into their own pail. So they don't actually plan on eating the fish. They don't plan on actually doing anything with the fish. They just want you in their candidate pool, and they can't get that if you're sitting over there in the ocean. And so a lot of those jobs are actually not real, but it is useful to kind of see what companies are in the area. That could certainly help. Make sure when you do the company research that you take out a spreadsheet, whether that's in Google Docs or just an Excel spreadsheet or even on a piece of paper, and you start recording the companies that are in your area, and the companies, basically what size they are, that sort of thing. And more importantly, whether they are companies that actually hire for the type of profession that you're looking at. So again, let's go back to the psychology degree. If you're getting a psychology degree and you want to be a psychologist that requires a master's degree, you need to make sure there are companies in the area. So these could be hospitals, they could be any other sort of organizations that use psychologists. You need to make sure that you list those so you know what they are, because at one point or another, you're going to need to know what the companies are that could potentially hire you in the area. Internships and job shadowing. These are kind of similar. They're for the same reason. So internships aren't just for people who are going to college. Now you can get an internship whether you're in college or not. Just understand that when you do that, you're not necessarily going to get paid very well or not at all, like in my case. But the internship is a great way to build experience, a great way to get you started once you have some sort of experience. Internships, actually what you want to do with these is if you are planning on being a psychologist and maybe you can't get an internship as a psychologist, but maybe you can work in a psychologist's office. You can work in a psychology office. You can work around psychologists so that you can get the experience and the exposure to really help you in your career. The most important function of internships is actually networking, because when you're working in these different situations, you get a chance to actually network with people who could potentially actually get you a job once you're ready for a full-time opportunity. Then we have job shadowing. Now, job shadowing is actually something that has kind of come back as of late, and so could potentially be an option for you or somebody that you know, for them to get exposure to the career that they're looking at. The importance of job shadowing is that you get a chance to see what something is like before you ever get the education, before you ever try to get an internship, before you do anything else. Job shadowing is a way to find out whether something is actually going to be a potentially good fit for you. Remember, career planning is the most important thing you could do for your financial life, because whether you're planning on being a millionaire or billionaire or whatever it is that you want to do, figuring out the skills that you're going to have and figuring out the beginning of your life and figuring out what it is that you're going to build your foundation on is the most important thing you could do for yourself, your family, your community, for the country. There's nothing better you could do for yourself than to do career planning. And unfortunately, a lot of high schools don't really do career planning, or they do a really piss poor job at it. And colleges honestly don't really help either. A lot of colleges are really just after your money. They're not really that concerned about you. If you have any questions or you need some help with career planning, let me know. Send me an email at questions@jobferno.com. I'm SP Graham. This is Jobferno. And as always, choose skills over money.